It's Big Gun, Brian Petrie coming weekly Wednesday takes. Not a gamble when I ramble. All my slime balls we parlay. We just stick to the money. The tickets no funny. The chalkboards get in the bag. Nothing in stage, top in the cage. Needed a chin and he lay on the mat. It's Wednesday takes, making Wednesday great. UFC and MMA. Big Gun Brian, no denying where he be and what he say. Word of my cappers, we speak facts from start to finish. What's the weight? The value boys, we showing love. TGI dub is Wednesday takes.
Hey, let's say, what's up with the what's up? Back with another episode of Wednesday Takes. I was off last week dealing with some stuff. Obviously, most of you guys know now my grandfather, my beloved grandfather, passed away. We will talk about him at the end of the show. A little bit of a different Wednesday Takes. I'm going to try to keep it, I always say keep it short, but I can't shut the fuck up. However, no story time. I'm going to end with my grandpa tribute, to kind of talk about my grandpa a little bit, because he was an incredible man. And lived an incredible life, and I wouldn't be here without him. And no Twitter. Again, I've been busy, I've been crazy, I've been a little. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I handle death like most people. A few years ago I had some anxiety issues, and I really cleared those up. I talked to somebody, and I got really cleared up with that. But my real father has passed away. My other grandfather has passed away about 10 years ago, and I had friends growing up. We had a horrible car accident, 7th grade. Girls I knew passed away. And my wife's father just passed away as well a couple months ago. So I kind of handle death like kind of the same way. But when a role model hero of mine, like my grandfather, just passed away, I try to be tough like him, and it kind of wears on me. It's been wearing on me this week, so I've been a little behind the ball. So no Twitter questions, but that doesn't mean I want you guys to hammer the comments if I'm wrong, right, whatever. Every single person that does that, I love it. I love the engagement. I love everything. Trying to get to 1,000. We're at like 830-ish right now. What is that? About 170 away. We can do that, boys. Again, tell a friend, tell a girlfriend, tell a mistress, tell a side chick, tell fucking your neighbor, tell your neighbor's dog to tell that dog. Who cares? We need numbies, babe. I promise I'll shut up about the numbers once we hit 1K. But again, thank you for everyone that reached out about my grandpa. It's incredible. The support I got from just people who don't really know me, who just follow me from the Anakin Florian. I just finished that podcast literally right now. Kenny had COVID, so we did on Wednesday instead of Monday. And I thank you guys on that, because that's obviously the platform a lot of you have came over to see me on. Want to shout the Anakin Florian Army out, because you guys, everyone that reached out to me, whether it's Instagram, whether it was Twitter, whatever, you guys are fucking gorgeous. So thank you very much for that. Really appreciate that, but we still got a show, right? And it's been a while, so the pick'ems are out, by the way. UFC pick'em, UFC Paris France. That is out. That's on the YouTube. What you're watching is right now, so go watch that before or after this, whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Fire picks. I felt dialed in. Had a week off. Rearranged my office a little bit. Kind of a new backdrop. These are awesome sound pads. My wife got me for Christmas a few years ago. They were always behind the camera. I wanted to showcase them here. They're incredible. They're like sound pad artwork. This is real wood right here. Shout out Geek Acoustic. I don't know. They're not a sponsor. Sponsor me. But yeah, we got to recap Usman Edwards. I touched about it a little bit on the pick'em. Usman's my guy. And man, the memes we're getting. I'll share one of my favorites of Usman, and I hate my guy doing this. I addressed the Twitter joke I made that went over people's heads. People thought I was serious. Lost followers because of that, which just still makes me laugh. But good for Leon Edwards. People think I don't like Leon. Listen, I'm a Rich Franklin guy. Cincinnati born and bred, babe, right? And Rich Franklin, king of Cincinnati MMA. I was in the building when he got destroyed by Anderson Silva for a second time. Did I hate Anderson Silva? Of course not. It hurt my heart, but you got to respect these fighters that go out there. That's what they do. And Leon Edwards, this is his nickname's Rocky. Incredible comeback, right? I mean, he won the first round, very competitive, and then just looked flat. Just really looked flat, and everyone's blaming on the altitude, whatever. He didn't look gassed. He just looked flat, and then Usman did Usman thing, and then bam, fucking bang, headshot, dead. Or done, or whatever the quote is. I should have pulled the audio up. My bad. Might be on that one. But yeah, it just, the one thing I take away from the Usman corner work is the Usman Edwards fight was the corner work from Leon Edwards. I mean, incredible, right? Like, they were firing him up. They saw their star pupil, a guy who didn't leave Birmingham, didn't leave England, small gym, making it work, clearly has gotten leaps better from the first time they fought 7 years ago. And they're firing their guy up because they're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. This guy's flat. This guy's dejected. This guy doesn't want it. But he came out that 5th round. That was starting to be his best 5th round, or best round besides the first round. He was being a little more aggressive, right? And he didn't really throw the high kick. That left high kick's his best weapon. Man, threw it at the perfect time and, fucking headshot done, man. It's again, I'm an MMA fan. My fandom always comes above my capping. And there are a handful of guys that I really, truly live or die for. Usman is one of those. But MMA trumps all that, because that is such a good memory or good moment for the sport. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was talking about on Rogan. That's John Anik just said today on the podcast, he was at a fantasy football draft with some of his buddies. And this hair's bothering me. It's like a mirror. Where are you at? There it is. I can't figure it out. Fuck, I'm an idiot. John A was talking about the fantasy football draft. Like his buddies were like, man, that Usman knockout, right? People are talking about it. So I always put these moments over anything else because my what I want is MMA to be the biggest sport in the world. I think it's already the greatest sport in the world. I want it to be the biggest. I want these guys to be on the same level as NBA players and NFL players. And they're starting to get there. They really are. Obviously not pay-wise, but they're starting to get there. And a moment like that just doesn't happen. That huge comeback like that against and it'd be one thing if it was, it was a huge comeback against like a mid-ranked fighter, like an 8 versus 9. It would still be special. Or even if it was like a guy like, Bisping knocking out Rockhold. That was Rockhold. Obviously, Rockhold's a huge favorite. And that happened in the first round, and Bisping took it on short notice. Everyone expected Rockhold to win, but he had never defended it. He wasn't in discussion for pound. Like, Usman hadn't lost in the UFC. Like, there were so many things that made that special. And then the head kick, I mean, just you couldn't land it more flush, and Usman was out. But the favorite meme, I mean, you've seen... how do you hold on, sorry. Oh, gosh. I deleted all my notes for the show as I was trying to move the window out of the way. I got it back. But here's my favorite meme. I wish I could give credit to the original author or the original meme guy. I don't know. Everyone's sharing this all around, so I don't know who the original is. So I apologize if I'm not giving proper credit. But I mean, this is just absolute fucking gold right here. I mean, there's a lot of him, like, because his eyes are glazed over. So there's a lot of like, oh, I missed my alarm, or when she, when I finish, she keeps sucking, or whatever those lame jokes are. But man, whenever they throw Rogan in there, because he gets shit about interviewing people that get knocked out, and someone photoshops him in there super early like this, it cracks me up, man. It's so funny. I mean, look how, but more importantly, Joe Rogan wasted no time to get his interview, but look how fucking flush that is. I mean, not only is it flush, but he fucking leaned into it too. God damn, what a kick. Shout out to Leon Edwards. I still favor Usman in the rematch. I think the line is Vegas is favoring Usman as well, but no one's going to ever take this moment away from Leon Edwards, that's for sure. And man, yeah, just what a fucking scene, boys. What a scene. I love just a scene. But yeah, that fucking cracks me up when I see that, man. Just Rogan right there as he's getting kicked. Very funny. Very funny. All right, so I was going to do, the topic of today is UFC 279, but I'm going to circle back to that. The two things I'm going to get to is Dana White's Contender Series was last night. I watched it the night before I fell asleep early because I'm an old man and it was a day after my grandfather. Whatever. I can't have an excuse. But I did try to watch some of it. I rewatched it, but I didn't see it live. Last night, I always look for like stars, guys who really jump out at me. Blake Builder, underdog. He won rear naked choke over Alex Morgan. I think Alex Morgan, I know he's the favorite in that, but I just thought he was kind of a mid-range talent. I wasn't, whatever, but Builder looks good. He looks to be in great shape, has a good story. How high is his ceiling at 145? I don't know. He seems pretty big. He's good on the ground. I think he's undefeated. He's only 7-0, very young. I'm not jumping over people to see him, right? Then you got oh God, this is gonna be a name. You got Victoria Dudakova. Fucking try me with these names, boy. Try me with this shit. Versus Maria Silva. Silva, a big favorite. Dudakova came in. Her manager came out. She came in with a blown ACL. Hurt her knee in the fight. Kickboxer, undefeated, but she went to the wrestling. She's a good wrestling. Lost the second round, came back, won the first round, lost the second round, came back and won that third round. Good close decision. showed a ton of heart. She got signed. All the winners got signed, by the way. She showed some real good heart, but I didn't see a ton of skill. Again, coming off a blown wheel. So what are you going to do? Toughness through the charts, heart through the charts, wants to be here through the charts. So I'm going to give her, a pretty good grade. But, I'm going to be a little bit excited to see her. Plus, women's MMA, you need talent. And I think she can be very talented. She's only, 6-0. And when you're fighting through 6-0 with a knee like a completely blown ACL, I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. Matus Rebecki versus Rodrigo. What was Rodrigo's name? Lido? Yeah, Rodrigo Lido. Man, this guy has, as a guy who's 6'2" look at this. How does this only a 74.5? Why is my arms crooked? 74.5 inch reach. I mean, I could feel like I could touch the ceiling right now, but it is what it is. But Rebecki at 155 has a 66 inch reach. That's about as small as like Corey McKenna when she just fought. It's tiny, but he's a short fucking bulldozer in there, and takedowns are great. His ground and pound's good, and obviously his choke's good. I think he's UFC ready for sure. He's 16-1. Probably should have got a pass to the UFC because they signed a lot of these European guys. 4 cards like this weekend, the Paris card. But, he went through the Contender Series, got a name out there. He looked good, got to finish in the first round. After that the first couple takedowns, Rodrigo, who was also a pretty good fighter himself, he's 12-2, was like, oh, this dude's better than me. I saw him quit. He's like, this guy's strong. He's not stopping. I can't catch him. Fuck it, whatever. Let me give up a neck so he doesn't fucking punch me in the head. But the star of the show for me, and I'm gonna butcher his name. I love his personality. I love his style. I think he's good. I think he's a little underrated. I think he's fought nobody, but I thought he was gonna lose. Was Cedricus Dumas versus Matej Peñas. Czech Republic. Trains with Yuri Prochazka. Big, long, lanky dude from 185. Good striker, kickboxer, working on his ground game. And Dumas is coming in. Kid from Florida. Really fought no one, but has good intangibles, good striking. Is working on his ground game. And he went down, took Peñas down, which is what you're supposed to do. Didn't fucking have a pissing contest and go, no, I'm a better striker than this guy. Because they're both long. They're both long for the division. Slim Reaper, which is a dope fucking nickname for Dumas. He went in there and took the fight to the ground. And then when Peñas popped back up, he was going to go Darce. And he's like, man, his arms are long. I don't know if I could get it. So then he went fucking standing guillotine and it was death. I love that. I love a young fighter going, Darce too long, but I got a neck. Let me go for it. He didn't jump guard or anything. He didn't give up position. He's just like, I'm going to ride this out. I got this dude's neck. And Peñas panicked and had to tap. Obviously, Dumas, though, confident boy, confident young man. No, I said boy, confident young man. And I think, with his build and everything, and I don't know what camp he's at. I think he's coming from Florida. I don't think he's at a big camp yet. Or no, he drives Alabama, which, I know Eric Anders came from Alabama a while, but I think he left. So I think maybe the Alabama thing might be a little, maybe we're going to need to go to a bigger gym, especially you're 7-0. But the intangibles there. And then obviously the main event, here we go. Yusaka Konosh, fucking Kishinati. I don't know. The Japanese fella. I don't want to be disrespectful, but Yusaka versus Jose Enrique. Incredible fight. Good fight. Both bangers. I've always striving for Japanese fighters to really make a push in MMA because that's where MMA originated from. The Pride days, Sakuraba there. I mean, traditionally they have some just dogs in there. And really, I just feel like there hasn't been many men from Japan over in the UFC a lot. There's a few women that are really good, but the men have really been struggling to make it to UFC. Obviously, Takashi Sato is one of the guys I'll jump off the top of my head that's from Japan. Maybe there's another one, but I can't think right now. Kinoshita looked fucking great, though. Counter punching good. He got a huge cut on his head. He fought a really awkward, undefeated, tall, lanky guy for 170. Pushed forward, showed a good chin, showed a good heart, some flashy striking, showed power and precision because that punch that put him down was pointing the chin dead. So pretty good Contender Series overall, but Dumas is my number one. Then I'm going to go Rebecki. Then I'm going to go Kinoshita. Then I'm going to go the Russian, the Dudakova, and then Builder. But I think they're all pretty good. But I just think, Dumas and Rebecki are going to have some really good careers. I mean, maybe even Kinoshita as well. 170 is a fucking shark tank. Good luck. But yeah, so that was the Contender Series. And then now, before we get to UFC Tips 279, which we got to talk about, I can't hide from it. I got to talk about I'm as ice as these ice cubes in this fucking cup. Touched on a little bit on the pick'em, but if you haven't seen the pick'em, I switched up my gambling strategy 2 weekends ago, I did one parlay, the slime ball, which we were 1 or 2 away, Romanov lost as well, and then Usman. But we had Costa in there, but doesn't matter. I mean, you lose one, you fucking, it's over. And then I had all single straight wagers. I did one prop. Props where you make your money. Props are sexy. Props have those numbers. I did all straight. And I felt like I was dialed in and focused. I don't know if I truly, I'm not going to make excuses. I was dialed in and fucking focused. And I lost these, and then they're baby bets, right? Because my bankroll is thin, okay? It used to be thick like this fucking hair I got. It's thin like a couple guys I work with. You know who you are. Thin hair. That's my bank account. My DraftKings account is getting thin. So I had to do baby bets. I had to do small quarter unit bets because I'm taking a fucking beating, right? I'm treading water at this point. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go straight wagers on the people I think that are going to win. I went favorites. I went a couple. I didn't play many bets, but I went favorites. I went a couple underdogs. Obviously, the slime ball parlay, whatever. Lost all of them, right? Lost all of them. Close fights, but I can't buy a fucking dub. Can't buy. The only fight I technically won was the Costa fight in my parlay, but the other 2 lost. So again, that doesn't count. But it's the only fight I got right where if I would have single wager without putting in a parlay, I would have won. But that doesn't count, right? You can't count that. So ice fucking cold, ice baby. Man, it is what it is, but I'm trying to change something. That's the thing about a capper. I think a lot of cappers, sometimes they don't have the self-awareness to know they're in a rut, and they are in a rut, but then they get too sensitive when people call them out on their shit, right? There's a guy I follow on Twitter, really good capper, and I think he pretty much does it for a living. Big units, right? Let's say he's a professional. I don't really know. But he was saying, I'm done tweeting my bets out because, when I win, no one says shit. And when I lose, I get hammered, right? And I get that. Like, not everyone's like me. I get that. Because when I tweet out a bet or when I send out bets, you got to hammer me. I think that's only fair. But best believe that when I win, no matter how small or how big, I'm fucking dancing on your graves. I'm tap dancing right now. You know what I mean? Speaking of that, some guy on Twitter is like, hey, I love you from Nate and Florian. You're great, but I just watched your own stuff. You're a little too animated. You need to tone that shit down. Some people like it, some people don't. I just fucking tap dance under my desk. Sorry, I don't remember his name, but he had a dog in his profile, I think. Sorry, man. I'm an animated guy. I apologize. But I just told him, like, I sent him a tweet. I said, listen, when you win, shove it up their asses. And when you lose, just fucking double down and, be a little self-deprecating about it. But the problem with him and I is his units are way bigger than mine. And I think this is his main source of income, right? I'm not a professional gambler. I've never claimed to be, right? I'm far from the best gambler for sure. Like I think I know a lot about MMA and I'm still growing as a capper, but far from the best, without a doubt. I mean, you're never going to hear, I probably have said I'm the best before and I probably meant it, but I'm far from the best. There's several guys out there that are really, truly incredible MMA handicappers. And I'm trying to get there. I'm always trying to be better. So this week for the Paris card, I really did some things different. I would just watch tape, make notes. Okay, this guy's going to win. Look at record, whatever. I did that, but I added more things. I really dove into a bunch of different things and let's see where we go. Like you can't always win. You're going to be ice sometimes. You're going to lose. MMA is very unpredictable. So I don't get too down on it too much when I am ice, but a sport that I love, this is the only sport I gamble on. I don't gamble on anything else. I want some success, right? I need some success. And success for me is just getting a couple wins right now. I just need some fucking dubs. Put the banner up, man. I need a fucking dub. But before this, ice was one of my greatest nights I've had, multi-unit wins. So that's the ebbs and flows of gambling. And if you get really down on yourself and you let people dictate the way you feel and in your mind and shit like that, you're never going to get anywhere. People are always going to hate on you. You go to the Yannick and Florian podcast. I get hated on all the time. You go to, who's this? You go to the Yannick and Florian YouTube. I'm just getting shitted on left and right. You go anywhere. You just can't let it bother you. And trust me, I'm not this like fucking bulletproof guy. I mean, things bother me, but not the people that don't know me and they don't like my picks or they think I'm fat, that's not going to get me, Bob. I'm happily married to ain't going to get me, right? But I will acknowledge a really good insult. If someone comes at me, like someone called me a gluttonous sinner, that was fucking good. That was a good one, man. I remember that. Of all the insults I get, that one sticks out. But, you know, so what I'm trying to say is I need to get better as a gambler for sure. I need to maybe get some insight from other people. I'm usually pretty stubborn. I don't listen to podcasts, MMA podcasts, until after I make my picks because I don't want anyone to influence me. I don't want to feel like I'm jockeying from people and yada, yada, yada. But there's some really good podcasts, really good cappers out there that I maybe need to take some insight from. People on Twitter as well. Just some really great people out there. So I'm definitely not the best. But the one thing I think I do have is the mental to battle back from all the negativity and shit like that. I think a lot of guys on that platform, well, especially Twitter or whatever, I don't know how they're feeling actually mental. They're struggling a little bit. At least it gets to them a little bit. And you just can't let it. Just tell them to fuck you. And then when you win, tag them, right? Remember them. Be a little petty bitch and go, hey, look at the multi-unit hit now, bitch. You know what I mean? Look at the multi-unit hit now, bitch. But, you know, not everyone has that. Not everyone has that pettiness like I do. But, you know, that's it. I kind of ramble a little bit. What I'm trying to say is, okay, is I'm ice cold. I need to break this ice. And I'm going to this week, and I feel like it. If not, UFC 279, not the week after that. Never going to give up. I'm a positive-minded guy, even though fight night comes and all bets can dry and I throw a bagel up. I allow 15 minutes to really sulk it in, and then we're moving on, okay? So I'm going to battle through this ice, and that's one of the reasons why I can never charge for my picks, because I'm far from the best, and if I charge for my picks right now and you guys are getting ice, oh my God, I'd probably have someone show up at my door. Hey, man, you lost me $25. You know, I'm fucking take your head off, whatever, like that. I don't know. All right, UFC 279, that's topic number one. I went on a little tangent there. We got to talk about this fight card here. So a lot of reports. I think Ariel reported it on Instagram or Twitter or something like 2 weeks ago that this wasn't selling well. And my boy Timbo, who's a ride or die Nate Diaz fan, was like, the UFC's letting that information out, so when he leaves, people are going to think he's not selling well or whatever like that. And that may be very true. I don't know. Sure, right? But before they added the 2 fights they just added, that 2 fights they just added, it was pretty weak, boys. I mean, they were hedging on Chimaev Diaz, which is an incredible fight, which I'm fucking excited to see. Very rarely do we get non-title fight pay-per-views that are going to sell. Conor, I think, was one of the few that only did it. This is usually a fight night thing. They're running it on pay-per-view, which makes all the sense because Nate is a needle mover. As much as I think Conor made his career. Yeah, I fucking said it. Come at me, 209. I think Conor made him the star that he is. And I think Chimaev is trying to steal that. And Chimaev already is a star. I mean, you look at his followers on all these social media sites. I mean, they're fucking massive. And his Gilbert Burns fight was incredible. He showed that he was human. So now you put him with Nate. And Nate's the kind of guy that can get fucking the dog shit kicked out of him for 24 minutes. And that final minute, he can take it from you. A lot of layers to this fight. But people were like, what else you got for me? There wasn't much meat on this bones. So I want to bring it up. Like, I buy everything. I watch everything. So it doesn't matter to me. I'm not your average consumer. But would your average consumer do this? I remember back in the day when I was running low on shekels and I had low money or whatever, I would just go to beat-ups. Get a beer, get like a little wings, $20 or whatever it is, and be able to watch the fights. Like some fight cards or pay-per-view cards, I should say, were beat-up nights. This is what I would classify, before they add the 2 that we're going to talk about, I would classify as a beat-ups card. Or any kind of sports bar, wherever you go. A lot of them don't carry the fights. I know beat-ups does. So we'll get into these. Let me make it a little bigger here, right? You're going to have to cover my face here. So you got, went right off the screen. Son of a bitch. So you got Chimaev Nate Diaz. Let me move this over a little bit so you can, hey, it's your boy right here. Chimaev Nate Diaz, unbelievable. They added the Leech and Tony Ferguson. At 170, Tony's 3-4 months removed for getting knocked out bad by Michael Chandler. But I like that it's at 170. The Leech is durable as shit, has a bigger jaw and face than Drew Dober. I'll put that up against anybody. That's an interesting fight, but they put that together fairly quick because they needed another star. Irene Aldana and Macy Chiasson, I think that's a great fight, but does anybody care? Was that going to be the co-main event? Was Johnny Walker, Ian Cutelaba going to be co-main event? What was the co-main event? They UFC came out and said, we don't have a co-main event. But whoever in that second spot was technically the co-main event, even if they didn't headline that. That's what they always have a co-main event. That's what it was going to be. But they got the Leach and Tony Ferguson, which makes sense. That's a good co-main event. Then you got Johnny Walker, Ian Cutelaba. You got two guys that are banging out, right? Two average, middle of the road 205ers. Johnny Walker, had a lot of hype. Now he doesn't. Cutelaba's a fucking wild man. What are you going to do? Kevin Holland, Dana Rodriguez, they just added that. I love that fight for 180 because of the short notice. But they put these fights on short notice, so I got to imagine they call up Kevin Holland. They call up, hey, Big Mouth, right? Is what they call him. And they go, we need you. We need you for September 3rd. 10th, 3rd's this weekend. Big Mouth goes, okay, I can't, who's my guy? You got Dana Rodriguez, welterweight. I can't make 70 right now. All right, here's a bag. Here's an extra bag. Make 180, 2 weeks. Put on a fight. You'll get a third bag. So the UFC, I feel like, is putting a lot of money into this to sell this card. So even if you think they're shortchanging Nate and releasing these rumors that it's not selling well, possibly, but I don't know. But then you got Norman Dumont versus Daniel. Before these fights got added, you had Norman Dumont versus Daniel Wolf. Daniel Wolf, I believe, coming for Contender Series, doesn't have a fight in UFC technically. Then you got Jonathan Almeida, who's going to be a fucking stud, right? I'm high on him, but he's not moving needles right now for anybody, right? He's fighting Shamil Akhmedov. You see how I kind of spun through that name, so I didn't have to say it. Jamie Pickett versus Dennis Tulian. Okay, right? You got Chad Ellenberger versus Hailey Antong. Cool. I mean, these are great prelims, but these would end up on the main card until you add it what you add it. Elise Reed versus Melissa Martinez. You got Jake Collier versus Chris Barnett, Battle of the Fat Boys. Hakeem Dawodu versus Julian Rosa. That should be way up the card. And then you got Darren Weeks versus Johan Lennox. But that's going to be a banger of a card. But guys, like UFC 279 was doomed until the UFC added this stuff. So hit me in the comments if I'm crazy, if you believe Timbo, if you think, hey, the UFC was trying to sabotage Nate by putting him on a weak card, main eventing, non-title fight pay-per-view, and it wasn't trending well, right? And then they're like, okay, we got to make money. Spite, money trumps spite, right? So we got to add some things. So they added the right fights. Is it still the fight of the year? No. You look at 280, gets my dick hard. You look at any of these pay-per-views coming up, I mean, fucking really get you going. This one just met, but the main event's amazing. I like the Leach. I like Tony Ferguson. It could be really sad if Tony Ferguson gets slapped again. That's sad. There's a lot of moving parts in this. And Kevin Holland and Rodriguez, that could be a main event on a fight night. Great fight. And there's some other really good fights. I'm not shortchanging the card. I'm not saying the card's bad. I'm just trying to ask you your opinion. Do you think it was bad? Do you think they should have added these fights? Or would you have got it with just Nate and Chimaev anyway, right? Because pay-per-view's $80 now, right? I mean, your boy's balling. Your boy's got the shekels. But $80 is $80. You know what I mean? They used to be 50 or 40 or $34.95, whatever it was. So that's topic one. I just wanted to, poke your brain and see what you're doing here. Quick little thing before we get to quick takes and then my grandpa tribute, because again, I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. Who's running Bellator? And I've said this before, why wasn't Bellator on last week when the UFC's off? Danny Sabatello and Rafion Stotts was on Ariel, and they almost got in a fight. That's great hype. That's going to be a great fight. Why don't they put that on sooner than later? Like, I feel like everything is just so spaced out, and then they compete with boxing, they compete with UFC. They can't be doing great numbers on Showtime. No one has Showtime. I steal my parents' Showtime. So, and they don't do pay-per-views. It's only Showtime. I don't know the idea behind Bellator. I think Bellator needs to look at the UFC schedule and they need to go, this is when they're going to be off. And they need to capitalize on it. Same with the PFL. The PFL goes to Fridays, which I love. Bellator, I think, is now Saturdays, right? I just feel like they got to capitalize on this. I don't, a lot of people are anti as many shows as the UFC's doing. I love the, woo! Like, do I got a sneeze button? I don't think I got a sneeze button, man, because woo, sneeze the shit out of that one. See my nose off. But it doesn't make sense. Why aren't you running when your competitors aren't running? People want to say the Bellator is number 2, right? They have number 2 money for sure, but I like the PFL better. You know what I mean? And that's just obviously my boy Ken Flo's on the PFL. I enjoy the PFL better. It's different. Everything's formatted differently. The pacing needs to work. The pacing's pretty rough. But then you have the Bellator, which I think has amazing fighters. AJ McKee's coming up. You know, Patricia Pitbull, Sabatello, and Rafael Stotts. They're fucking good fighters. These are guys I want to watch. But you're going to put them on a UFC weekend and where no one's going to care, right? I feel like Bellator hasn't had a show in forever. And the last show they had, like, they didn't have much talent on it. You know, they're running these big shows and they're putting a lot of money into it. But who is running the Bellator? Because if Bellator needs me to run them, even though I'm a Team UFC guy and I don't really cover Bellator as much as maybe I should, give me a call. My fee is very expensive, but I'll come in on a consultant basis and I'll work your shit out for you. Okay, it's not that hard. Showtime, Vox Media, whoever owns you, you know, whatever. Fucking give me a call. I can fix that shit. All right, quick takes. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Quick takes. Yeah. Mighty Mouse. I should have led the show with him. Demetrius Johnson, a guy I've always liked, never loved. Incredible performance against Adrian Moraes. How do you say his last name? Fuck. Anyway, doesn't matter. Guy that beat him by a knee. Mighty Mouse came back and beat him by a knee. Adrian should be at 155. The guy is absolutely enormous. He missed his hydration test. He's enormous 135. Demetrius Johnson came out and said, I'm never going back to 25 because of health reasons. Makes sense. He looked very filled out. Yeah, he's short. Yeah, he's small, but he's got all the skills. He's quick. He's fast. He's got wrestling. I don't think it'd be that big of a deal for him at 135. Obviously, it's not. He fought a lightweight in Adrian. Incredible fight. Mighty Mouse just looked good. And in and out, landed that right hand that lands a knee and then walked away and celebrated. That belt they got's pretty fucking dope. I like ONE FC. Again, I forget ONE FC or one championship. It's not ONE FC. I always say ONE FC. I always forget one championship. Whenever I talk about the number 2, number 3 promotions, people in the comments always point out, hey man, one, I love the deal they did with Amazon because I watched it on Friday night. It was great. Some really good fights, interesting fighters that I didn't know, you know, because they have a good roster of guys I don't know. The Muay Thai stuff mixed in is pretty cool. The two things that people were talking to me about that are controversial was, so they score the fight as a whole, like they did in Pride. So there's no round by round. It's as a whole. Some people like that. Some people don't. I'm mixed on that. Obviously we need to do something with judging the 10-8 and everything. It's different than boxing. I get it. Judging the fight as a whole, that has their own problems as well. There were some really fucked up decisions in Pride if you watch Pride. And I'm sure there's still some fucked up decisions in ONE right now and stuff like that. So it's not perfect. I don't think any scoring system's perfect because it's subjective. But the knees on the ground, which I used to be against, I kind of fucking love because so many guys stall on the ground now. Or they'll play that game where they'll put their hand or knee down. I love it now. I know it's brutal and I'm not like a blood and guts kind of guy, but man, I fucking kind of love it. If I'm being honest with you, I love the knees on the ground. I think it makes guys work on the ground. When Demetrius went to the ground in that fight and he was in that sprawl position, he got stuffed his takedowns. He was getting knees. He had a roll to his back. It was very active on the ground. And even when you have guys in side control, throw that knee over, you're always working. You know, Pride had that. And I don't think we'll ever come to the States, but I do like it. I have completely flopped. I thought it was a little barbaric. Soccer kicks, as cool as they look, they're still pretty fucking rough. But knees on the ground, I think will just speed up the ground game and make people take chances and really showcase their skills as opposed to stalling. Because there's a lot of stalling on the ground and people against the cage. Okay, my hand's down. I'm just going to chill here until he does something, then I can stand up. You know, that's the option's gone. You get knee in your fucking head, you're moving. Conor McGregor, next little quick take. This guy touched by Cody Merrow on the Annika Flooring we just did. You have to hit that channel and watch that. But Conor McGregor, this guy, he's interesting, right? And I censored this picture because you saw the little V that goes down the old dick. I censored it because it's a kid show. Okay, I'm kid friendly. But he posted this picture. And then on his Instagram stories, he posted, I think it was 2 stories, what appeared to be his lovely wife, Dee Devlin, topping him off. giving him a little sucky suck behind the jukebox. I don't know. Is that a saying? He's on his yacht. He's on his $10 million yacht in the middle of the fucking French Sea or wherever he's at. And, he's there with his beautiful wife. And, they do what they do, But, don't post that shit, my guy. But he posted this first. And this is literally like just him. It's basically a dick shot without a dick shot. You know what I mean? So I censored it again, kids show. But, I think it's down now. I think he took it down. I think he probably realized it. But what's this guy doing? Right? He's living on a yacht. He posts these videos of him breathing and doing like weird humps with his stomach and says that's part of the McGregor fast and shows the shakes he's drinking. Then he's working mitts on like when his yacht's docked, he's working the mitts and stuff. Apparently his leg's not 100% yet, but I love Conor. I love Conor for a multitude of reasons of what he's done for the sport. His personality, he really changed the game, I think. But man, I just think it's behind him. I think he's made too much money. I think, living on that whatever Lambo yacht, getting topped off by your wife with your beautiful kids and not having to worry about money probably for the rest of your life. He's a fighter through and through. He's going to come back. He's going to fight, but is he going to be ever as good as he was? No, I don't think so. And if he is, I'll get a tattoo on my fucking, I can't say that. I'll do something. If he comes back and becomes champion, even if that means he comes and skips the line because he's Conor and he fights a 70 pounder or Leon or whoever, because I think that's what he wants to do, wants to fight at 70. If he becomes champion again, I'll do something outrageous. I'll come up with it. Just throw suggestions in the comments. I don't think it's going to happen. And that really hurts me to say because I love Conor McGregor. I truly do. Last little thing before the grandpa tribute here. Hopefully I don't cry. I haven't really cried the entire time, but I'm going to be talking about a man I love. Bisping, real quick. Bisping saying Till will be champ still. Bisping has a very successful podcast. I don't think he's like a clickbait kind of guy. He doesn't say things like Chael Sonnen does to really get his name out there. I think he truly believes Darren Till will be champion. And Darren Till is one of my guys. He's the same level as Usman. I live and die for Darren Till. I love him. I always have. The minute he joined the UFC, it's just what it is, right? I don't pick them. They pick me, essentially. Guys, they grab me. Till being champion, I think he's young and 80. No. I love Darren Till. I think he's going to make a lot of money in his career. I think, when he really gets his shit together, and so apparently he just got arrested this past July in Sweden for DUI. So, he's drinking and shit. And, I just, maybe that was just a one-time thing. Just because you drink alcohol and get caught once doesn't mean you have a problem. But this is a guy who looked really out of shape and not wanting to fight when his last fight against Brunson. And then this is a guy that just pulled out of the Cannonier fight, Sean Strickland fight. What fight it's Sean Strickland fight, right? Yeah. Or no, the Hermanson fight. And then Chris Curtis stepped in. I should have known that. Pulled out of that fight for whatever reason. That was not long ago. He got hurt, right? I love that he's training with Cosmot. I love that the Change Up and Gym All Stars is a badass gym over there. But I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you, Mr. Bisping. I don't think Darren Till's gonna be champ. All right, fuck. Let's end it up. Let's end it with here. Look at this fucking gorgeous man. Look at him. So, my grandfather was the man of my life. He was always there. Like, so, take it back. My father and I, my real father. So you might get confused. I mention my father all the time. So my stepfather, who I refer to as my father, I call him Don. I don't call him dad or anything because, he's not he's not dad, right? He's my father. So I reference my father who's married to my mother. He's really my stepfather. My real father, never really, I have two older sisters. Then he got married to a woman. She started pumping out kids. And I was forgotten. I'm the youngest. I'm his first boy. I'm actually his only boy because the kids that she was popping out weren't his. Didn't find that out till later. And he had a lot of problems in his life. His biggest problem was women. Second problem was he developed a drug problem, drinking, whatever. And that's how he killed himself. He killed himself, swallowed pills, died about 14 years ago. But I have daddy issues. That's why I grew up with a lot of fights. I grew up with a chip because even though he beat the shit out of me when I was a kid, and I'm getting real vulnerable here, so don't be uncomfortable. It's okay. We can get vulnerable. Beat the shit out of me as a kid. My first 7 years when I lived with him were really rough. And I just felt like he never wanted me, right? And even after all the bad feelings I had of him, when I started living with my mom and my stepfather, I started playing sports. And I played every sport, baseball, soccer, basketball, football. I would call him up because he would never call me, never want to see his son, which being a father now, I have no idea how you do that, right? And I would call him up and say, hey, got a game, blah, 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 got a game. And it's not like he lived in a different state. He lived fucking 20 minutes away, right? He could have showed up to these games. Never did. And every game, I can promise you, I looked for him. And the reason I'm laying this out, because my grandfather was everything that I wanted my father to be and more. He was a better person. He was a better man. He lived a better life. He wasn't an addict. He was strong-minded, strong-willed, taught me everything I've known. He taught me how to swim at a young age, taught me how to fish, taught me how to ride my bike, taught me how to become a man, essentially. Taught me that, it's okay to fuck up every once in a while. I have your back. But these fuck ups need to be a learning lesson so you don't do it again. And I fucked up a lot, but those fuck ups never happen again. And every time I would call with an issue or a problem or whatever, whether it was money related, whether it was just a confidence issue or whatever it was, because he moved away. He moved to Wilmington, North Carolina. He retired in Wilmington, North Carolina in 1999. So, and we would go visit him every year. I would, visit him last year, whatever. We're going to visit him this year, but, unfortunately passed. And just the conversations I had with him, I always just felt like I became a better person because of him. And he was such a great person. He accomplished everything. World War II veteran, super successful in his life, graduated from St. John's University, worked at the pharmaceuticals, worked at Pfizer in New York. He's from Brooklyn, New York, moved to Cincinnati to work at Merrill Dow Chemicals. And then when he was over, became a consultant for one of the biggest firms in North Carolina until about 2008, where he officially retired. And everyone that has writing on his obituary are saying, like, every time this guy told me to do something, I didn't listen. He was always right. And that's true. Every time he gave me a piece of advice, and even if I was young and dumb and didn't listen, he ended up being right. And, he wanted the best for me. He was willing to pay for my college, everything. They had a college fund set up for me. Got out of high school, hated school, just wanted to party, just wanted to drink. Went to Cincinnati State for did the test to get in to see where you place, right? Because it's a community college, right? There's no application. Anyone can go. But you take the test to place you. I showed up 45 minutes late, was hungover, and left before anybody else. So I didn't do well. So I went for a half semester, hated it, stopped going. Grandpa, obviously disappointed, but didn't tell me. So I went and did my life. I was 21, 22, 23 years old, just drinking, living on UC campus, whatever the case may be. And at 24, 25, I call him up. I was like, you know what? I got to do something, right? And this was not provoked by him or anything like that. He was always, every time I talked to him or saw him, he was always proud of me and everything. And so I call him up. I said, Grandpa, I think I want to go back to school. I think I need to. He said, I've been waiting for this call for years. I got you covered. Whatever you need, it's on me. Went back to school, finished, got my school, and I told him, I said, hey, listen, I was on the phone with him. I was like, I'm doing this for you. He goes, no. Don't do it for me. Do it for you. You don't have to do anything for me. You being a man and you willing to do this, do it for you. I said, okay, Grandpa, I'll do it for you. Or do it for me, excuse me. So I finished school and then I had a conversation with him about what I want to do. And he goes, listen, you're 7 years in at your job. That's a great company. Maybe try to advance. Because I always wanted to leave UPS. I was 1 foot out the door. I never want to stay. And he goes, you could really do well there. They're not going anywhere. So sure enough, I applied myself and I got a better job. Then I got a better job and I got higher pay. And now I'm literally, I have the best job in the fucking building and I get paid good money for it. Right. And I get healthcare benefits. So my daughters don't have to worry about if a surgery comes up or anything like that. We're covered. And I would have never done that if it wasn't for him. So I would have I don't know what, I'd be working at fucking White Castles or something. Or I don't know if you guys have McDonald's or something. I don't know. Don't know my life would have turned out without his guidance. And then I had my seizure, right? And at the time I had my seizure, I was 27. So he was 87, 88 years old at that point. And he was devastated hearing that. My parents called him and said, yeah, Brian had a seizure. Never had anything wrong with me my whole life. He drives in the middle of the summer. I got a seizure in May. 2 weeks later, he's there. And he goes, I want to go to the doctors with you. I want to be there with you. Him and my grandmother, 87, 88 years old, drove up 11 hours from North Carolina, stayed a week. And this is, I believe, maybe 6 months after he had heart surgery. And he went to the doctors with me. And he's just and he's always there, right? And everyone says that about everyone, but it's hard to always be there. It's hard to care. It's hard to just not give up on someone who fucked up so many times. He never would, and he never did. And at this point with the seizure and everything, I was already had a good job, had the job I had, and had just literally had a first date with my wife, and things were building for me. And just seeing that support, right? He didn't have to do that. He could have just made a couple phone calls, but he wanted to be there. And he just gave me some great life lessons throughout his whole career, his whole life. And they always stuck with me. You know, he's just an incredible human being. And, you know, again, so the heart surgery that he had to get a valve replaced. So about 6 months ago, I brought it up on the podcast. 6 months ago, he's having problems with it. And I just found this out. So he got diagnosed with Parkinson's. So he had to walk with a cane, which my grandfather is the most alpha male guy you've ever seen. Does not like when men cry, doesn't want to show weakness. Like, that's just him. So walking, I saw him last summer and he's walking with a cane. He was very embarrassed about it. I didn't bring it up. My mom brought it up. He goes, "It's called getting old." But he had Parkinson's and he was having trouble walking. So then 6 months ago, the heart thing happened and the valve needed to be replaced. And he had to sit down with the heart doctor, and the heart doctor said, "Well, we can replace the valve." He's 95 or 94. He would be 95 this November. So 94. "We can replace your valve, but your Parkinson's is rapidly increasing. So replace your valve, and the recovery, you're probably looking at a wheelchair." And he said, "Nope, not doing it." Looked at my grandma and says, "I love you more than anything in this world, but I can't do that. I can't be in a wheelchair, and I won't. I'll take medicine. We'll see if the medical route works." Because I was always told, or I had been told, because, you know, your grandparents, they keep you in the dark. "Hey, grandpa just, his heart's going out and there's nothing they can do." Well, there was something that you can do, but he wasn't going to be caught dead in a fucking wheelchair. So I got a call on Sunday, the day before he died, saying they're moving. He was in the hospital since that Thursday. Got a call saying they're moving to hospice. So I'm in my head planning to go down there, right? Planning something. My grandma's like, no, don't come down here. Everything's fine, And then, so Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning, they were going to move him to hospice. Monday morning, he passed away at like 4:30 in the morning. There's no way he's going to be laid up in the hospital. This is not him. And my grandma said he went the way he wanted to go. And I love that. They had a service down there yesterday in Wilmington, which I wanted to go to. My grandma begged me not to come, so I couldn't go. But we're having one up here in Cincinnati. This is where he's going to be buried. So next Friday, we're going to have a service and everything like that. But wanted to just share that I'm becoming a better man. We talked about me being a piece of shit at 22. I'm a better man now, and I'm striving to be the best father, best husband, best person I can be because of this man right here, because of him. That's literally the reason why. And he never wanted me to do it for him, but I did it for him because, of course I did it for myself, but whenever I wanted to, change a career, whenever I wanted to do something else or risk it or do something just, whatever. I thought about what he would say. And even though he would support me, I just knew it wasn't about it. He had ingrained so much into me to know right from wrong and bad decisions and good decisions. So I owe everything to this man. I'm sorry I'm taking up your time talking about him. He was my father figure. He was as close as a father as I ever have. And I'm not disregarding my stepfather at all. My stepfather has his own unique way. He is another half of the reason why I'm here. He took on a big challenge. But my grandfather, my hero, my role model, my guy who, if I live half the life he lived, I think I did pretty good. And I can't, I'm not super sad. I'm not crying a lot. I'm not like emotional. I'm a little in my head about it, but I'm a little down in the dumps, obviously, but every time I think about him, it's just happy memories. And it's hard to get sad about that because I got to live those. I remember them. And I was lucky enough to have them. And I was for a long time. A lot of people my age don't have their grandparents, right? So having them around and learning everything from them and showing him before he passed, because he was so impressed with the way I handled the girls last time I saw him. He saw me. I'm his youngest out of the two. He has other grandkids too, but You know, he raised me. I showed a picture as a baby. That baby now is raising other babies, and he's very proud of the way I handle myself. And he told me so. And I just have a million more memories. I could go on for 2 hours. I'm not going to do that to you guys. I love you, Grandpa. Thank you for my life, and thank you for everything. Okay? So that's it. I better get off before I will start crying. Thank you for supporting. Hit that subscribe button. We're trying. It's so hard to shift into the subscribe stuff when you talk so emotional. Hit the subscribe button. Okay, we'll get deep. We'll get deep with it, baby. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 1K. I'll give out some shirts. Huh? I got some new designs coming, huh? And thank you for the condolences. Thank you for everything. Thank you for listening. I briefly talked about my grandpa on the Pick'em podcast. I led with it. I told her I was going to talk about more on this show, and people were writing in the comments, you know, I lost mine too. It's hard and everything. Like, I appreciate all that. I read all of it. Thank you so much for everyone reaching out. It's just an incredible thing. You know, I feel like I haven't made anything. I haven't done anything, but I feel like I made it because of the people I've already met so far. So I'm excited to meet more people along the way, even negative, good, bad, whatever. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you when I see you, huh?